Hello and welcome to Behind the Paddle podcast with me, Emily Sin.
Yeah, and me, Paulson Victoria.
So we've got a Halloween special today for you guys called Slut-a-ween, where we're going to be discussing the kind of slut shaming that goes alongside Halloween and the kind of origin of that and where it's come from and where it's kind of going as we're kind of getting into a kind of separate time. But we'll go into that further in a wee bit. So we couldn't do an episode about Slut-a-ween without quoting the infamous Mean Girls. In the regular world, Halloween is when children dress up and beg for candy. In girl world, Halloween is the one night of the year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it.
Yep.
Which is such an iconic line.
It is. Great. It's used everywhere.
Yeah. And I feel like it's so true. It's one of these things that, like, I don't know, every time you go to a shop, anytime running up to Halloween, you just see all of these costumes, and there's always like a costume and then like a sexy version of the same costume.
Oh yeah, like, they'd be skimpy.
Yeah.
Like,
it's in October. It's cold.
It's cold in Scotland as well.
Yeah, especially
it's cold
here.
as hell.
It's freezing. It's usually raining. Sometimes even snowing by that point.
Yeah, that is fair, that. No. I mean, when you go to the shops, there will be the female outfits and whatnot, and it'll be way more skimpy.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot more skin, and it'll be like, what are you? like there are some outfits out there where it's like, what are you meant to be? Because there is that
so little detail because there's just not enough space for it, really.
Exactly. I was just like, oh, okay.
Is there any like guy versions of that? The only thing I can think is like Gladiator, where it's just like the wee like skirt.
The mankini, if you want to be Borat.
Yeah, but that's like, so this is like another thing that we're going to touch on a wee bit later, where that's like quite wide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like ironic rather than actually supposed to be sexy.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair. Okay.
Rather than like a sexy nurse or something. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, because like even horror movie characters, when the males are presented, they're usually fully clothed.
Yeah.
Like, including their face, like Michael Myers and Ghostface and that.
They have been sexualized so much, especially this last
These
year.
days?
My God, yeah. I've never seen as much stuff about Ghostface as I have.
Right?
Like,
we're
getting
I
a rain
get
back.
Something. I should get a Ghostface, actually, for this living room.
It would suit in here. It would suit in here.
It just takes down every now and again. Just like, I'll use that. It'll be fine.
Just sit it on your clients when they're not looking. Just like, there you go.
So good.
You've got the blindfold on that one. It's nicer than like a bag or something.
Exactly. I've made them hotter. It's okay.
You do you.
I'm not saying all my clients are unattractive or anything like that. Just Ghostface.
It's just instantly improving any situation, really.
Exactly. Like, why don't we have one on right now?
There's an idea. It's fine. November's still like close enough. I feel like we could work that in. So I thought a good place to start was the kind of origin of Halloween, going from what it was in the kind of 40s, 50s, where it was more like it was starting to be kind of commercialized, and they were starting to go, like, companies and stuff were like, hey, we can make some money here.
Yeah.
And a lot of the traditions and stuff became like really around spending money, like mass-produced costumes. Everybody had to have like sweeties, like everybody had to have pumpkins. Like, I'm not saying these things weren't done before, but companies kind of cottoned onto this and like really pushed for it and made it like something everybody should be doing, rather than just like some groups were doing it in a low-key way in their community before. But it got really pushed through advertising and stuff. Aye, so the 50s were really pushing it on kids. Kids were the money makers for like the big candy companies, and like it was getting really commercialized. It got to about the 70s and they were like, here, we could be selling this to adults as well. And a lot of the
70s, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. we could go into it. There's I read a wee bit more, so it was talking about like how during the Victorian era, like Halloween was really spooky. Of course, they're gothy as fuck. It was great. And everything was like really like people read fortunes and stuff was really like mystical. And then as the kind of Christian influence came in and the kind of early 1900s, like all that got pushed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of came back with the trick or treating again and people dressing up scary. And then when the 70s came along, that was it, like the sexual revolution of the 60s coming into the 70s, and people were like, right, this is for adults too, let's go and have fun.
Yeah.
It's just a real whirlwind through that. So, as Halloween had shifted its focus onto kids and families onto adults, there was a big Greenwich Village parade in New York that was that place was like the centre of gay culture, and there was like a big parade. It wasn't like a pride parade, but it was like similar in that people were going out and celebrating queer culture in the streets, and there was like a parade and floats and everybody was getting dressed up and wearing sexy costumes, as much the same as it is at Pride, in the sense that it is just part of the culture, and that just went hand in hand with a celebration of anything in that area. And people were kind of looking at that and going, we want a part of that, as they always do with queer culture, except the straight people always do it wrong.
Yeah.
Which is where I think we've kind of led us to like Slutoween, and like why everybody's so like slut-shaming with women and men that like choose, or anybody that chooses to kind of like take part in this tradition that has kind of made its way and kind of cycled through like from queer culture across, but none of the values and community spirit has came along with it, and it's went wrong.
Of course not. So how has it went wrong?
So,
am I skipping a bit?
no, it's okay. I just like when I'm saying it went wrong, most of that's been from my personal experience and like stuff, especially online. Like anytime you see anybody posting, like even just on my personal Facebook, like people would post like an outfit that would have like bought for Halloween and just get absolutely like slated by people for what they're wearing, like it being too short, or like, oh, you're not going to be called. I know I've said that myself already, but like,
I remember when I picked up the wee one,
and
I was just wearing like a dress or something, and they were just, oh, you're not going to be cold.
Yeah,
I was just like, no,
like it's just like it's a
fine.
thinly veiled. You shouldn't be wearing that.
Yeah,
like that's like the polite, quote unquote, polite way of putting that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I got that a lot from my parents and my family. But when you put it like that, I'm like, I do remember them.
Yeah,
people saying stuff like that.
Never really heard anybody say that to men very often.
No.
This is where we know what's behind that. Do you know what I mean? Where like what they're actually meaning by saying that, because it's no something that just gets like thrown about. It's always specifically
very
women.
Specific. Yeah,
and it's always about what they're wearing.
Yeah,
like it's no, they're not saying that when you're wearing like jeans and a top. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you show a bit of skin. Yeah, you show a bit of skin and people are like, oh, especially men. And they get this thought about like, oh, they're easy or something like that. Like there's always connotations which come with it, which I've found where, oh, she likes to dress like this, she likes to dress like that. It's like when I wear like my Selkie dresses, like it's, to me it's like so much more like conservative in a way. Is that the right word?
In terms of like covering up, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Where it's like, oh, she's good.
Sorry,
she's
I hear the word
girl.
Conservative and I just like I'm just like traumatized. But yeah, it does also have that meaning as well.
Yeah. where it's just like, oh, because she's all covered up, she's decent.
Yeah.
She's a good woman.
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about. Whereas whenever I wear like fishnets and a skirt, even if it's not a long skirt, even if it's not a short skirt, sorry, then there will be looks and things like that.
There is just these like connotations attached to fishnets, and like I think it's interesting that, like, going back to the Mean Girls quote, where every other day of the year, the kind of expectation on, like, good women, as you're saying, is to cover up. But
Yeah.
there's almost this, like, weird, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't thing with Halloween, where, like, you can't win. Like, you're expected to dress sexy, but no too sexy. Conservative, but no too conservative. Like, there's a really fine line that is that fine. I don't think it exists really.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, it changes depending on who you're with, so you're never going to make everybody happy.
Yeah. I don't think that's ever even possible in the world.
No.
In any type of circumstances, especially being a woman,
Mm-hmm.
where you're able to actually make everybody happy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, non-existent. Somebody will be pissed off.
Yeah. Let's piss them all off.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen what I'm wearing currently?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, my Halloween outfit is actually, because I thought of it last minute, and I sort of like to gender bend things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm going as Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
In my Freddy dress, the hat, and the glove,
Yeah.
and fishnets, and my big platform boots.
Mm-hmm. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Buzzing to see that. Like, I've seen some of them individually, but no together, so it'll be cool.
I'm very excited. Because I would love to wear this out, but one, people wouldn't understand, I don't think, who it is. Because I'm going to be Lily Munster, without the wig. But it's also latex, and that is sexualized as well. And
yeah.
It would be nice, but there would be looks and things.
One of the presenters on Big Brother wore latex in every, or not every, but most of the live shows last year, and it was actually really cool to see. Like, I've seen a few videos on, like, so it's again so off topic, but we'll circle back, it's fine. We always do this. Where people have been wearing, like, latex with, like, workwear. There's, like, a lassie I follow on TikTok that always, like, styles latex with, like, pencil, like, it'll be, like, a latex top with, like, pencil skirts and...
I think I might follow this person.
Yeah, she always does, like, in the hall and, like, I think it is in, like, the hallway or work, like, in the lobby, like, what she's wearing that day.
Yeah.
And wears latex quite often. And it's quite nice to see, like...
It's normalised in a
like,
way.
fetish clothing has always inspired fashion. You can see it everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's, like, one of the main influences a lot of designers take from. But it's always done in, like, subtle-ish ways. Like, it's like, you need to be looking for it or you need to know. But it's starting to, like, get more and more. Like, I think as people are kind of getting a wee bit more, like, extravagant with what they're wearing. Because, like, when we were at TG, like, some of the outfits people had on were, like, wild, amazing, like, out of this world stuff I've not seen before. And it's, like, it's quite cool to see, like, fashion kind of, like, following along behind that, and it's starting to kind of, like, cross the streams a wee bit. So
yeah, like, it's fashion, it's not sexual or anything like that. It doesn't have to be taboo or hold anything with it. It's fashion, it's beautiful.
Things only have meaning if you give it to them.
Yeah.
And this is what I always say, like, there's so many things people get offended by, but, like, you wouldn't if you didn't know what it was. And you're only offended because you know what the thing is. Like, the thing in and of itself is inoffensive. It's just the things that, the connotations of that you
associate
it with.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. And these associations are starting to fall away as things are becoming more mainstream and kind of mixed into just, like, everyday life, and it's great. Like, it's great and it's bad, because it's nice, like, it's nice things being, like, specialised, but no gate kept. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Cool. So, even in children's clothing, there has been this, like, gender stereotypical kind of split between, like, boys and girls.
Yes.
Costumes. Even as kids, there's this split. The biggest one being, like, occupation costumes. So, like, we boys will have, like,
this is the whole Barbie thing.
Doctor and fireman and policeman and, like, all the, like, one of this person had looked at the Toys R Us website and kind of compared the difference between the costumes, and they had 82 occupation category choices for boys, but only 44 for girls.
Huh.
So no quite half, but
Yeah.
almost.
Mm-hmm.
And the occupations themselves were quite like, for the boys it was like fireman, doctor, police chief, and then for the girls it was like vet, nurse, cowgirl. And I don't know, I'm not saying that's not an occupation, because it is, but like,
What?
I don't know if I would categorise that in the same way.
No, no. Like if you're in America and like on a ranch and all that
Yeah.
stuff, maybe. But
we have like dogs here.
yeah, it's different. Yeah, absolutely. But like that's grasping straws. That is. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're a cowgirl,
Yeah.
and it's like an actual occupation and things here in the UK.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it's always nurse versus doctor. Like, there's always that split of like women being in like the almost assistant
Yes,
role.
second best role and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
Aye.
When you think about nurse, sadly, with me, it does come to mind of being a woman and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I feel like when men are training and they are nurses, they do get like belittled
Yeah,
and
they get
criticized.
stigmatized for it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, I didn't know you were a woman and things. And
Yeah.
it's like, really?
Yeah.
Really? It is like, again, being a vet as well, it's like, oh, that's the woman part.
Yeah.
Like, being the doctor's like the big boy part, and then being the vet is like, oh, you deal with animals and stuff. They're much softer.
With a vet, you need to go to medical school and then go to veterinary school. Like, you actually need to do more work. Or, no more work, because you're not doing like...
You need to work harder in a way.
You need to go to school for longer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think for doctors, you go down into like placement-y kind of roles to begin with. But I don't know the ins and outs of that. But aye, like, they're no totally dissimilar to each other in terms of like the level of work that you need to put in to get there.
Yeah, it's see, I think we discovered in a few episodes ago, like, gender, especially with kids, it's just like, let them be kids.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter if this is for girls or boys or anything like that.
Totally.
And it's, to me, it's quite ridiculous that it's gendered, especially the way that costumes, you can get like a T-Rex and it's like a boy T-Rex and the girl T-Rex is pink or
and it's got
bullshit.
eyelashes and painted fucking claws and shit.
Exactly. It's very
hyper-sexualized and hyper-feminized. Or no, sexualized. Sometimes. I don't know.
I mean, I don't let mine wear a bikini in general.
Aye.
I still haven't came to terms
Pure
with that.
toddlers and tiaras, like,
well,
vibes.
yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
I found this quite interesting as well. Sorry, this is like jumping back in time because I have not put my notes in a very good order. But this is kind of going back to like the Victorian times again, where young male choristers in church dressed like virgins during... They changed it to All Hallows Eve, which was like All Saints Eve. Like, there was like other names that were more like... They had more religious overtones, and this was when it kind of started moving away from being a bit like witches and like kind of fortune telling and tarot reading and stuff as it had been before, and like the dead walking among the living and all the kind of stuff that were traditionally believed to be about Halloween back when it was like more a religious pagan holiday rather than when it was Christianized and kind of sanctified, and it was a bit like praying and dressing up as a virgin, as a choir boy at church.
That's so normal.
What does that look like?
Right.
Like,
go to your bed.
Are they all like dressed in white in that normally anyway?
That's what my thinking was.
Like what?
Does the priest have their fun with them? That's how they like. That's how they know they're virgins.
Yeah, maybe.
They're all dressed in white and then blood.
But it was from this time period that the sexy maid costume came about, because that's like a staple. You know, you see it everywhere, especially in the kink community. That's like, it's an archetype,
especially in like sissies and things like that.
Totally. And where that actually comes from is during the Victorian times, a lot of people had maids, or at least the upper class did. And it was regular for people to expect sexual favours from their maids. Like, that was part of the job description, to the point that it became fetishised and led to the sexy maid costume, which
Yeah.
was, there was like, even during that time where like people covered table legs and folk were mostly dressing up as like mummies and like bats and ghosts and stuff, and like the kind of more creepy like characters. There was also people dressing in sexy maid costumes, which is wild.
That's great.
Because it was so normalised that that was a thing, that it wasn't like, aye.
It wasn't taboo or anything like that. It wasn't like, whoa. It was more like, give me those titties.
Yeah. Like, it was such a sexualised profession already that it was just,
Yeah.
they might have been making people dress like that in their day-to-day job already, from what it sounds like, which is fucking horrendous, but yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, I just kind of, a wee bit more of what we were saying, where in the 60s and 70s, like, birth control came out and was kind of readily available. People were having sex and freedom with sex more. It wasn't like, oh, if you have sex, you'll have children. Like, people were able to actually have it as like a recreational activity for the first time, rather than it being, or not for the first time, but more freely able to not worry about sex leading to pregnancy. And that just kind of creating this revolution of people just being like, free love, man. And like, that's where all that came from, or at least was a big part of why that was kind of the thing then. And then all the sexy costumes came in. So that kind of explains why that was becoming so popular at that time period. But like, why is it stuck a bit? Especially with all the controversy that kind of surrounds like like waist slut-a-ween and all the rest of it, like the kind of slut shaming that goes on. Like, why do people continue to dress up like that?
Yeah.
So there was an article in 2006 in the New York Times where they had interviewed a costume merchant to kind of find out like kind of stats and figures of like how many sexy costumes was he selling a year. And he was saying that between 90 to 95% of the costumes for females that he had in stock were like sexy, to the point that they had 3 different categories of sexy. Like,
and skimpiness and stuff.
and like levels of skimpiness essentially that people could choose from to make it easier because they had so many. And his kind of take on the reason why it was the way it was that people are buying them. Like, the reason why he's got that many in stock is because there's a demand for it. They sell out. That's what people want to buy. Which is kind of one person's take on it, is that it's just what women want. They just don't care about being slut shamed. They're fine with it. They're like, fuck this, I'm gonna do what I want. And are just, it's just meeting a demand essentially.
I mean, yes, it's great that some women don't care and things like that. But like, when you think about like maternities, what's the Kappa data?
All
that stuff, like teenage girls where like sororities, that's it, where like they could feel pressure to like,
definitely there is a
dress
pressure
like
there.
their friends and things like that. So I feel like it's not just they wanna dress like this. I feel like there's a lot more to it. I feel like there's a lot more to it.
Do you think it's like a social pressure thing?
So a part of it, a percentage of it,
yeah. So we haven't really said what slut shaming is as well, which is basically just saying that a woman is sexually promiscuous because of how she dresses, that she's asking for it, basically.
This is the whole, she's a slut, she's a whore. Especially if like she slept with a guy, or if like,
or wore a sexy nurse costume.
Or something that could be perceived to somebody as sexy. Like, anything can be sexy to somebody in a way, even if you're dressed like a monster or something like that. But it's the whole where guys, whenever they dress up or whenever they sleep with a girl or multiple, it's like, they're a pimp, they're a G, they're like, they're this, they're that. It's compliments.
People are just not held to the same standard.
Yeah. No, well, genders.
Genders, yeah, totally.
Are not held to the same standards.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no
I don't even want to call it a
equality.
standard, because that sounds like something people should be doing. I think, like, the way that it's worded here is, like, heterosexual women are expected to be sexy as part of the gender performance.
Right.
So I think it's more fair, like, that it's just gone back to this kind of, like, social script thing again, like, that we've kind of spoke about before, where, like, people of certain genders are expected to behave in certain ways.
Yep.
And are kind of told that's the path they need to go down, and any kind of divergence for that path is, like, bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll get, like, publicly shamed for it.
Yeah.
But this is one of these interesting ones with Halloween, where the kind of social script and the expected behaviour is to dress slutty for
Mhm.
Halloween, which is what I think, and what some potentially some other people think, but we'll go back to that. Think is the thing, is it, like, it is the pressure, but it's not the pressure for, like, other people, it's this pressure for society to conform to the way that gender's supposed to be. Like, that's how, but then they vilify them for it.
Yeah.
Which is where the problem lies. Like, how are you supposed to navigate that? Like, there's no right answer then.
You stay indoors.
You stay in, you don't go out.
No. You just don't be seen by anybody, because women will get criticised no matter what.
No matter what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Because it's like, if you wear, like, a full outfit and you're covered for Halloween, or you're frigid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like...
It's not about control at the end of the day. It's just a way, like, if people are constantly second guessing themselves and doubting themselves and having the decisions that they've made be questioned all the time, they're going to look to somebody for answers. And that's the point.
Yeah.
And then they can be guided and moulded and changed and shaped into what they're quote unquote supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Easier. Because they're, like, pliable now. Because they've second guessed themselves to the point that they would rather take someone else's opinion or, like, someone else's decision on what should happen rather than their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Isn't life fun?
Oh, God. I mean, if I wasn't who I am, like a woman,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't have the job that I have.
Mhm.
And I would not want to be a male, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be a straight one, to be honest. So that's just off the cards in general.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't live the life of, like, a straight male anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy. I'd be happy not being that, because there is so much that comes with it.
Yeah.
Because not necessarily most of our episodes, but I think when women talk about men these days, it's not in the greatest light.
No.
Especially in my line of work, where it's like men should be at the bottom
Yeah.
and women should be at the top and things like that. Again, very gendered.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not great.
Aye. I'm full on feminist, but I don't think the roles should be flipped, because then we're facing the same fucking issue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and I feel like that's when people, I feel like people are less like this now, but it used to be like, if people heard the word feminist, they would, like, hiss.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it
they'd
was
be like, oh,
it was
really,
like,
you're that?
It was like a bad word. Like, you've just like insulted yourself
flags,
in front of people. Do you know what I mean?
I've been called a feminist just because I've got dyed hair.
Really?
Yeah. By clients, obviously.
Yeah. And it's like, mate, are you not a feminist?
Right?
Like,
that's fine. I don't want to deal with you then.
Aye. Like in this day and age, it's terrifying that there's anybody, like,
that would object to that.
I'm not saying I would give a pass to the older generation, but, like, I can understand it. Just to the extent that they grew up in a very different time. And it's not that I would let anybody away with it, and it's not that I agree with them or think it's okay. And I would still try and educate them, but I wouldn't take as much offence to it as I would somebody our age.
That's true.
That's all.
I've had it our age.
Aye, like that.
And
Like I
it's
would
just like,
walk away
what?
from that person because for me, they have had access to all the same information I have, or at least to an extent. Even like a tiny, minute, little bit of that should be enough, in my opinion. And like, I don't even want to, like, it's no ignorance to me. Then, like the older generation, it feels like ignorance. I think that's the difference. And like ignorance isn't like. Or people like being in denial or actively ignoring things because they've like got heaps of trauma and had no access to like counsellors and stuff. So they've just had to like shove it all down, and that's like shattering their worldview. But like, I don't know. I mean, you could.
Things are different these days.
Aye.
I don't give a pass to people who have dealt with it, but I understand more.
Yeah, I don't give them a pass either. I can understand it, and I would be willing to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
But for people our age, it feels a bit more like they're a lost cause. And I don't know if that's terrible.
No, avoid them.
But
because it's like,
there's too many influences these days as well, like Andrew Tate and all these other that like people get sucked in this rabbit hole. And they kind of need to get themselves out of it before you have any chance in hell of actually having a conversation with them that's like at a level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
No, I understand that. Like, you've got the internet these days. You've got all sorts. So it's like, do you think feminist is a red flag? What do you actually think being a feminist is?
Yeah. I think it's hard because, like, less so these days, but more previously, like when we were at school and stuff, like feminism was painted as this like man hating, like kind of no wanting freedom for women, like oppressive kind of force. That was how I took it at the time, from my very limited understanding of like, I don't know, like the slut-shaming was coming from the feminists, at least in the news, as much as it was coming from...
That's where I saw the whole hate on women, really.
Like, it made it seem like they
were the problem.
They were part of the problem to me, because a lot of these things, like, felt wrong to me, and when it was getting shown in the news that, like, all these feminists were like, oh, like, women should be covering up, or at least that was how it was being portrayed, the people that I lived with bought the Daily Mail. So I grew up with the Daily Mail, which was great. Yeah. Very, very warped view of the world that paper gives, but...
I mean, my growing up was immigrants are taking our jobs and things like that, so it wasn't the greatest. I definitely had to, and still am having to, like, rewire my brain.
Totally.
Get it all out and, like...
Aye. Because I grew up with my grandparents. They're, like, a generation even before. Like, they were born during the fucking World War II. You know what I mean? They're, like, a whole other level of, like, back in the day. Like...
Yeah. Absolutely.
So... Aye, it's been interesting, kind of getting out and actually seeing the world for what it is, and being like, oh, you're wrong about all this stuff. That's so sad. Like, I just feel sorry for them, and I think this is why I've got this like, no pass for older people, but like, I don't know, like I've had loads of conversations with them, and I've started to like change their mind about some stuff, and it's been really nice, and I'm like, there's hope for that. Like
that's good.
I've had better experiences with that than I have like people your kind of age.
Yeah.
So, I found this really interesting bit, and the way I kind of linked it in for me is that one of the reasons why women are expected to dress sexy on Halloween is for men, is for the male gaze. With everything with this, like, when women, like, I'm not saying that's why they're doing it, because it's certainly not why I'm fucking doing it. I just like getting dressed up, and it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, next year I want to do Austin Powers. And that's certainly not for the males. But
yeah, baby.
We're very we're very different people from like other people, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like me and you have went, fuck men.
Oh, totally.
Like, fuck what they think and things like that. We'll do what we want.
There's a growing just like vibe of that. Like, for what I'm seeing on social media anyway, like that seems to be like, think about that song Labour and how much it's been used on TikTok.
I played that so many times.
I get goosebumps. Like, even now thinking about it, I've got goosebumps. Like, there is just this growing trend. Again, it could be we're in a wee bubble and it's on our side of TikTok because we are that way inclined as well, but there's just like a feel about the air the now. Like
absolutely.
um
That song is so right.
yeah.
I love it so
It's
much.
so good. It's so good. What was I saying? Aye, so like this kind of Halloween sexiness being for men at the kind of basis of why things have kind of led to the way they have, is kind of backed up by during the 18th century, in Ireland and Scotland and all the kind of Celtic nations, because that's where Halloween originated from. Halloween was actually about finding a match for women.
Oh, okay.
So in Ireland, a matchmaking cook might bury a ring in her mashed potatoes on Halloween night, hoping to bring true love to the diner who found it.
Now,
And
with
I
my luck,
wonder-
I'd fucking kill somebody.
I wonder if this is where the engagement ring and like
a
cakes and
cake,
stuff
yeah.
comes from, because engagement rings only started like in the next like 100 years after
Yeah.
that. I wonder if it's like a wee leftover for this, for like
Interesting.
traditional kind of Irish
I
ways of
wonder.
celebrating. In Scotland, fortune tellers recommended that an eligible young woman named a hazelnut for each of her suitors and then tossed them in the fireplace. And the ones that burned down to ashes were loves that wouldn't last, and ones that remained mostly like untouched were good matches.
Yeah.
So there was quite a lot of like kind of it was very like aimed towards people finding like their love. And I feel like that makes sense with the time of year it is, because it's like the end of the harvest, and that's like the kind of traditional time people are supposed to get pregnant, with like how long the pregnancy lasts for like the baby being born coming into the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a whole thing about that, like why like most people get pregnant in like August, September time. But this would make sense like for the people that had missed out on that, a kind of wee last dash before the winter shits into like finding their next person.
Mm-hmm.
Another tale had it that if a young woman ate a sugary concoction made out of walnuts, hazelnuts, and nutmeg before bed on Halloween night, she would dream about her future husband.
What's with the nuts, man? What's with the nuts?
Because at the time of year, that would have been what was about the place. This is like the time of year for like nuts being on trees. So
like you're going to be gobbling nuts at some other point as well. But
nuts
Jesus.
for nuts, you know. Maybe it's a symbol. Young women tossed apple peels over their shoulders, hoping that the peels would fall on the floor in the shape of their future husband's initials. I don't understand this one. Like, why were people peeling apples? Like,
it's nicer. Peeled apples are nicer.
Yeah, but how would they make a shape? Oh, like if you done it like in a spiral?
No. Like when you peel it,
just like the strip,
a section,
like the strip, and then like chucking that over your shoulder.
Multiple strips, yeah.
Oh, because it could curl up. Right, okay, I understand this. Sorry, I couldn't.
It not necessarily would kill, but if you did an A, you just need one strip there, one strip there, and one strip there.
How you doing an S though? Just at landing?
Fuck the
like
S's,
splatting
clearly.
It behind you.
Clearly, fuck
what
the
if you
S's.
like fancied Seamus Simpson, and you wanted his initials?
Try a different method. Try the chestnuts or whatever the fuck they were.
Right. Okay.
I mean, surely if you fancied them, you would dream about them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think this is like, it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
If you're thinking about something right before you go to bed, like sometimes you dream it. So if you like you're sitting and you're mindfully drinking this thing and thinking about your crush, that it would make sense that you would maybe dream about them when you went to sleep. Like,
I wonder if it would work with Bowser.
Just summon Bowser on Halloween night. I mean, you could try it. Is that what you're going to be up to? Just like getting an apple peel. I think a bee would be quite difficult to get with that as well.
I'll go with peach. Oh wait, no, pea would be difficult as well. Fuck's sakes.
Is there any that start with I? Just like a line.
I don't know what to think about.
You could get toad.
No.
Is he like a child, actually? Sorry. I was just
I
thinking
don't think they
with
are.
like the straight lines. Like
Toad. Yeah, oh, Yoshi. No. Okay, I'm not gonna that. Yoshi.
big tongue.
Mate, if he denied me, I'd be well annoyed.
Can he speak? Sorry, look, it's getting dark. Just put the screaming mask
Is Yoshi
on
of age? That's the question. Okay, what else?
They also tried to learn about their futures by peering at egg yolks floating in a bowl of water, and stood in front of mirrors in darkened rooms holding candles and looking over their shoulder for their husband's face. That sounds fucking
Nah,
terrifying.
I'm okay.
I'll stick with the egg yolks, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, that like
I'll drink those nuts. Like I wonder if people did this no matter what gender they fancied. Because it sounds like it isn't
well,
that.
if this was like the 1800s, I mean, going back to like our episode last week, like it wasn't the done thing that you wouldn't,
Yeah.
even if you fancied other genders, you would still get married to the opposite
The male,
sex.
yeah.
So like, I don't think it. Aye.
Yeah.
This was
sad.
like, if people did it now, then aye. But
yeah.
back in the day, I mean, no doubt some people did it, but they probably weren't going to get married to them. There wasn't even the word for lesbian at that point. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Gay still meant happy and skipping then.
Yeah.
What was the... Oh, so there was like competitive ones as well. At some Halloween parties, the first guest to find a burr on a chestnut hunt would be the first to marry, or the first successful apple bobber.
What the fuck?
So I wonder if that's why that's still like a thing at parties. It's like a kind of leftover for that as well.
Huh.
They really like their apples. I mean,
And
it is
nuts.
this time of year for apples and nuts, so there probably isn't like an awful lot else that were like plentiful that could kind of get wasted as such if you're like chucking them in the fire and putting eggs in water. Yeah, so like Halloween very much had this kind of overtone of like it being like a matchmaking activity, and I wonder if that's kind of like the influence of that's just kind of left over, and everybody's like getting like dressed up in what they deem as like the best way to like catch a guy. No, that it is that, but like that's the kinda...
Well, it's another event to like show off,
and like show that you're the most suitable. Like, aye, like it's a kind of people aren't thinking that, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So, speaking of. Also got up a wee list of the most popular Halloween costumes last year.
If there isn't a Disney character in this, I'm going to be very surprised.
What do you think number one is?
Oh, number one.
For last year. Like, what was, like, big in last year?
It's not, but what first came to mind was Harambe, but... I love that costume, Harambe. That's it. It's just, sexy. What shit went on last year?
What was a big film that came out last year?
That's a good question. I have a shite memory. What came out?
You've already mentioned them on this podcast.
Oh, Mario.
Very offhandedly.
Oh, what genre is it?
Do you want me to just tell you? So it was a film that came out for, like... I don't know how to describe this.
What genre is it?
I don't know. Like, popular?
Popular? No, is it horror? Is it thriller?
No. Like... I don't know that it's a kid's film. Feminist, maybe? I've still not seen it, which is terrible. It needs to be on my list.
Oh, Barbie.
Yeah.
Barbie.
Like, what genre is that? Sorry, I don't know how to, like...
It's real?
Like, was it a kid's film? No.
I don't think it was a kid's film. I don't think Barbie was that much of a kid's film.
Like, I just didn't know how to, like, describe it. Feminist, probably fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like that gave it away instantly, which is why I was, like, trying to think of something else.
No, yeah, Barbie was awesome. It was very, very good. It made me cry.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Aye.
I would 10
I
out of
really
10.
want to, like, sit and watch it, and I've just been so, like, frazzled that I'm, like, I've started to watch it 3 times. I need to actually just, like,
Also,
chunk out a night and, like,
like,
sit down.
if any men are like, oh, it's Barbie, watch it. Realize what women actually go through.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful way of how they've put it. And, like, shut up.
Just shut the
Just
fuck
shut
up.
Shut up, Ken.
Shut up and
Like-
put it on.
Yeah. Like,
Says me, who's still never fucking seen it. But, like, yeah.
because, like, with movies like that, there will be men who are like, oh, it's a girl movie or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut up. Get a grip.
Yeah.
It's not I hate the whole quote unquote man up, but it's
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, just shut up.
I think
I
we
just
should
do it.
reclaim man up. And
Yeah.
man up should be like, be a grown up.
Oh, that's good. Be a grown up. Yeah.
Like, grow up.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good. I like that.
be emotionally intelligent. Be in touch with your fucking feminine side. And I don't even like that saying. Like, be in touch with all parts of your shell. Stop stifling your shell.
Mm.
Like, be you.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good.
like,
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Be a Barbie.
Yep. Do we want to guess more, or will I just tell
Oh,
you?
no, let's guess.
Okay. What do you think number 2 was? It's very generic.
So, like, was it a schoolgirl?
No.
Oh.
I think this includes kids as well. I think it's like
Oh, okay.
everybody.
A nurse.
No.
Okay, go.
Princess.
Ah.
Just princess.
Princess. Okay.
Yep. So number 3 is more a traditionally boy one.
Okay.
But not all, that doesn't have to be. It's like a superhero.
Oh, like Batman or something. Or just superhero.
No, like an
Superman?
actual superhero. Yeah, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 4. So,
Genre.
horror. Traditionally female.
Traditionally female.
Yeah.
My mind has drew a blank.
So it's a witch.
Oh,
I think it's
witch.
always
People
going
are
to be
still
in the
dressing
top
as
10.
witches these days. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, Hocus Pocus, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that came out last year, I think.
I mean, I've dressed as a witch in the last few years. But as a sexy witch, of course. I just wore my normal clothes.
That's good.
Number 5 is another like kind of generic, like traditional one. Traditionally female.
Traditionally female.
Yeah.
Has it been any of the ones which I've said?
No.
Ooh, traditionally female.
It's more like a younger one.
What? Oh, I don't know.
I don't think I could guess these, by the way.
Yeah, this is difficult.
No, that they're like, just, it's hard because there's so much that
Yeah.
you could guess.
There's
so it's
so much, yeah.
a fairy. Like, I thought there would have been
Fairy?
more, like, branded ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, rather than, like Spider-Man
generic.
Barbie. Yeah, but I thought Princess would have been, like, Elsa.
Yeah.
And then, like, Witch would have been, like, one of the folk for Hocus Pocus, rather than it being just, like... But it makes sense, because, like, they've maybe just lumped all them in together. So, like, everybody that dresses a princess, rather than doing them individually, it's just... And that's
Yeah.
why it's number 2, and Barbie was just, like, huge.
Yeah.
But number 3's Spider-Man? Like, how many people dressed as Spider-Man last year?
How many?
Yep.
Like, that's quite a lot.
Aye. Number 6. Do you want me just to say them
Yeah,
now?
go on.
Was, of course, Wednesday Addams.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
surprised that wasn't higher.
I agree.
Number 7 was Dinosaur, which in the picture is pink, which is hilarious. Number 8 was Cowboy. Number 9 was Ninja. And number 10... And I don't know why they've done this. Number 10 was Bunny. Number 11 was Rabbit.
Right, okay.
How are they not the same?
Is Bunny sexier?
Is that's what I was thinking. Is that
Yeah.
like the girl one.
Mhm.
But how many boys are dressing up as rabbits?
Big rabbit mascot costume. That's the only thing I can think
Yeah,
of.
like for Donnie Darko and that as well.
Oh, yeah.
If they're like lumping everybody in together. But then would they not have done superhero and they've just done Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Like,
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know who made this list. Maybe I should have got a better list. Because number 12 is Pirate, and that is blatantly supposed to be fucking Johnny Depp. Like,
Where are we looking?
there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Liam.
And then Princess Peach. The reason why, like, we don't need to go through all the list, but it's so gendered. Like, every single one, the reason why I brought it up is, like, you know instantly, like, what is going to be the majority of
Yeah.
people that are doing that, other than the bunny and rabbit one, which is confusing, which I didn't see before I did this. I just looked at this generally. But all the girl ones are like cutesy, and like we've got Witch, but other than that, like most of them are like no scary, whereas some
Yeah.
of the guy ones are like more like there's like Pennywise and like Batman, and I know that Batman's scary, but do you know what I mean? They're less like sexualized roles
Yeah.
than like Bunny and like Princess and Barbie, even though that is less so this year or last year. But yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I missed it. Oh, the last thing was just kind of like where costumes are starting to go, which is what we've kind of like touched on a wee bit in terms of like the kind of ironic sexy. Like people have clicked onto this like overdone, overused, like sexy versions of everything to the point that they were getting like sexy pickles and like what was the one that you had said right at the start that I've totally forgotten now?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you in the spot.
My brain is not with it today.
What was the other ones?
But anything can be sexy.
Yeah. I like
Anything.
sexy lobsters and like people dressing up as like fruit.
Yeah,
but
like
with
monsters and stuff, yeah.
With like fishnets on underneath and like stuff like that. Like I feel like
Sexy Patrick Star.
Aye. Exactly. And like, oh, there's so many poll accounts I follow and they do like hilarious like Dobby and shit like that. Like
Yeah.
I've seen loads of that, and I feel like we'll see a lot of that at Halloween as well, because it's like it's just starting to like people are taking the piss out of this kind of traditional gender stereotype. And I would like to hope that like slut-shaming's gonna like die a death alongside that.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because kind of going back to what we were talking about with feminism and stuff, like this was what like upset me or made me think I wasn't a feminist when I was really young to begin with, was because they didn't seem for women and the way that they were being portrayed. Like for me, it's like what you say, like it's about freedom, it's about people being able to do what they choose, and it's totally about being aware of these traditional gender stereotypes and like encouraging people to be themselves and no be pressured into it. But if that's how people want to be, leave them to it. I feel like becoming part of the voice that's saying like these women are wrong, they're letting the team down, they're like just like being a stereotype and they're going against all the things we've been working towards, which is like all bullshit. Like that is just further controlling people.
Yeah.
Like it's adding into this like all these voices that are like making people confused about how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to be. And like the less of these voices the better. Because then people aren't getting influenced by things that aren't just how they feel. And that's what's important.
Yeah.
And that's what feminism should be about, is like breaking down all these barriers and all these voices that are out there that are like taking freedom away from people because they're listening to the voices or themselves. Like,
yeah, like it's not. This isn't like a cult or something where, well, yeah, mainly a cult where somebody has one opinion and you have to follow it.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's not that, and it shouldn't be that. Like feminism, it should be we all have our own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
We could give them our opinion and everything like that.
Yeah.
But don't force anything. Don't, like, there's no need to.
Yeah. It's just victim blaming for me. Like, it's like, oh, you wearing that is you allowing yourself to be
Yeah.
oppressed. And it's like,
Shut
go
up.
and shout at the oppressor and leave
Yeah.
me the fuck alone.
Exactly.
Let me do what I want.
I agree.
Like, they are the problem here. What I'm wearing, like, it's the whole, like, oh, you're asking for it, like, oh,
yes.
people, like, all this advice that's coming out.
What, asking
for,
for
like,
it from the men? The men who rape and assault and things. Right, so you're not going to sort them out, but you're going to make me feel shitty.
Because it's just gone into this, like, oh, we're the easier target again. We're
Yeah.
the ones that need to change. We're the ones that need to conform. Because it's easier to get women to change than it is to get men to stop being bastards.
Yep.
And that's bullshit. Like, it's the harder fight, no doubt. But that's the one that needs to be had.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
do it.
aye.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
Men need to be shut down and they need to actually learn respect for other people and not do what we've just stated, which is going out, sexually assaulting, catcalling, and raping women.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
And blaming it on their fucking Halloween costume.
Exactly. Or they dress like that, and it's like they wanted to wear something that made them happy.
People can speak. They have words.
Yeah.
They're not fucking walking billboards for their desires.
Exactly. We don't dress to please men. Some people do.
And that's also fine.
Yeah.
Like, this is where, like, it shouldn't be about that. Like, the problem and the onus is now on women. Like, if you're a straight, heterosexual woman who finds men attractive and you want to dress to attract a man, that's fine. Like, people should have the freedom to do that. That shouldn't be something that you're shamed for. Especially when it's fucking expected of you. Like, it's just it's not even double standards, it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just bullshit.
It doesn't. It's like they see you dressed up and with the whole, oh, this is what's expected, and it's like a trap.
It is a trap.
Where it's just like, oh, we're going to call you names and everything like that. And it's like, what the fuck? It's not a win-win situation. It's a lose-lose. And we're not saying we hate all men and things like that. It's the men that give men a bad name.
Yeah.
Because there are nice men out there.
Yeah. But anybody who's slut-shaming anybody is a bad person.
Exactly.
Bottomly.
Yeah.
Like, that's known.
Exactly. Yeah. End of. Done. Goodbye.
Yeah. Buzzing for Halloween.
You're very excited.
Yeah. I'm going to be cold. It's going to be great.
What are you doing on Halloween?
I am at a market in Glasgow at the Barrows.
Yes, you are.
It's going to be good. But I'm outside, so I'm going to be cold.
Oh, yes, you are. You are.
But I'm dressing up because it's Halloween and I want to dress up.
Is it an 18+ market?
Yes.
Okay.
It is after a certain time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But if anybody's kicking about and wants to come to the Barrows and come see
That's Glasgow.
The cool witchy stuff, because it's like mostly witchy stuff, but we're going to be there too.
So jealous.
Yeah. There's going to be fire. It's going to be outside, so it's going to be near me so I can see the fire.
Good luck. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
I'm going to get a gazebo. I'll be fine.
Well, with the fire.
Oh, like, it's a fire performer. They can still perform in the rain, just not for as long.
Yeah.
Because it's like pure salt. You know what I mean? It's like special stuff that's like waterproofish. Because it was raining when we went to Beltane and there were still people doing like loads of fire stuff.
I'm still yet to go to Beltane.
I've only been once. I went last year. It was really good. I keep missing it. I've missed it for like 3 years, remembered, went, and then forgot about it this year. So I'll probably go in another like 2 years.
Yeah, fair.
Like the stars will align and I'll remember about it in time and actually go. So.
Fair. Well, I'm just going trick-or-treating, which is going to be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Get lots of sweeties.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. I was tempted to like bling up the garden and stuff, but it's so much money. Animatronics are so much money.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. We don't get any trick-or-treaters at my house.
Oh, yeah,
because there's like 3 kids and they go to Livy because like there's no point going round.
No.
Because nobody's going to have anything.
Yeah.
Aye. I seen a thing, by the way. Trick-or-treating became a thing because there were so many kids that were born during the 50s with the whole baby boom that they were just causing a ruckus and like vandalising people's properties to the extent that like, see, it was all like TPing and stuff in America, like where they like chuck
Yeah.
toilet paper or like folks like who said that?
Yeah.
Like people bought sweeties in so that didn't happen to them.
Wow.
Like they were like
Interesting.
bribing the Waynes to no like wreck their house and like egg their house and stuff, which is like pretty funny. No
That's-
funny, but like that's why
That's
it
smart.
became such a big thing over there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, huh? That's very good to know.
Yeah.
Right, so is this the end of the episode?
Yeah, this is us.
This is the end.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. I hope it's been interesting.
Yeah. We have the Uncensored Market.
Yeah, coming up on the 15th of December in Queen Margaret's Union in Glasgow. We've got some amazing workshops and we'll have Hell Cabaret on as entertainment during the day as well. So that's included in your ticket price. So it's well worth a visit even just to come and see the guys because they are
it's well
fucking
worth it.
amazing.
Yes, I'm going to see them
I'm
at their
so
next
excited
performance.
that they're working with us. Like it's still, yeah, a pure fangirl and I'm like, oh, it's great.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, so
I don't think I have anything going on. I'm not touring. Going to London on the 12th of November.
yeah,
But I think that's it.
yeah. Oh, we'll be
Yeah.
going down on the 6th of November for the Fetish Awards as well.
You will be, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, get voting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote for us, Uncensored Market and the Sanctuary Sin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have not entered. Fuck that. I'm good.
Also, we are wearing beautiful Halloween costumes for
Yeah.
or lingerie-ish. Sexy Halloween costumes.
Yeah,
there we
sexy
go.
Halloween costumes.
And if you want to see that, check out our Dark Fans, which is in all my links. So go and check that out.
Yep.
But otherwise, you can get a 10% discount on the sanctuaryofsin.com if you use Behind the Paddle as the code at the checkout. But thanks for listening.
Yeah.
See you
I think that's
later.
it. Bye.
Bye.